19 NFL seasons. The man is going to be 40 years old on September the 1st, literally at the start of the season, and he just signed another NFL contract. Another one. And not just with anybody, with the Baltimore Ravens, the team he already came back from retirement for once before. Welcome back to Dre Talk Sports. I'm your boy Dre, and if you thought the NFL offseason drama was slowing down after the draft, boy did you have the wrong channel on. Because the Baltimore Ravens just made one of the most simultaneously surprising and completely inevitable moves of this entire offseason. They brought Calais Campbell home. And once you hear everything I'm about to break down, you're going to understand exactly why this makes all the sense in the world, and why nobody should have seen this coming, but everybody kind of did. Let me set the table for you. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, who broke this news, six-time Pro Bowl defensive end Calais Campbell, who previously played for the Ravens from 2020 to 2022, is returning to Baltimore on a one-year deal. Per reporting from The Athletic's Jeff Zrebiec, the deal is expected to come in around $5.5 million. Campbell turns 40 years old on September 1st, making him the oldest defensive lineman currently active in the NFL. This will be his 19th professional season. Let that number sit with you for a second. 19. For context, there are starting NFL quarterbacks right now who were in elementary school when Calais Campbell was drafted in the second round of the 2008 NFL Draft by the Arizona Cardinals. The man has outlasted coaching staffs, entire franchise eras, and multiple rebuilds, and he is still putting up numbers that young edge rushers would kill for. This is not sentiment. This is not Baltimore bringing back a mascot. This is a calculated, intelligent football decision, and Dre is going to prove it to you right now. So let's talk about what Calais Campbell actually brought to the table last season before we start analyzing what he means for Baltimore, because I am not going to let anybody sit here and act like this man is just a sentimental pickup. In 2025, playing for the Arizona Cardinals, his original team, completing a full circle moment, Campbell posted 6.5 sacks, 9 tackles for loss, and 16 quarterback hits across 17 starts, according to reporting by Yardbarker and Pro Football Rumors. He played over 45% of Arizona's defensive snaps at 39 years old. And according to Pro Football Focus data cited by the Ravens' official team site, Campbell ranked 12th in run defense grade among all defensive linemen who played at least 50% of their team's snaps. 12th in the entire league at 39. I need people to stop treating this like a charity case signing and start treating it like what it is. A genuinely productive veteran defensive lineman choosing to come back for one more run. Here's the historical context that makes this even more wild, and I want to give credit to NFL Researcher on X who posted this breakdown the day the signing was announced. According to their research, in terms of most NFL seasons played as a defensive lineman all time, Jim Marshall played 20 seasons from 1960 to 1979. Bruce Smith played 19 seasons from 1985 to 2003. And now Calais Campbell is entering his 19th season in 2026. He is in the rarest of company. He has 117 career sacks, which according to the same source ranks 4th among all active NFL players, behind only Von Miller, Cameron Jordan, and Myles Garrett. This man is a first ballot Hall of Famer who is still actively adding to his arsenal. The Ravens didn't bring back a legend. They brought back a weapon. Now let me explain the football context here, because this signing doesn't exist in a vacuum. The Baltimore Ravens entered 2026 under an entirely new regime. John Harbaugh is out after 18 years as head coach. A jaw-dropping development on its own, and Jesse Minter is in as the first-time head coach after serving as the Los Angeles Chargers defensive coordinator. The defense Minter is inheriting was a disaster last year. As reported by Yardbarker, the Ravens finished 24th in total defense in 2025, and a massive reason for that was the catastrophic loss of their defensive cornerstone, Nnamdi Madubuike, who went down with a severe neck injury in Week 2 and missed the final 15 games of the season. Per ESPN's Adam Schefter, Madubuike underwent neck surgery in mid-April, with his doctors believing he will be able to return to play this season, but nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is confirmed. and Jesse Minter cannot build his entire 2026 defensive identity around a player whose availability is still a significant question mark heading into training camp. This is where Calais Campbell becomes not just a good signing, but a genuinely necessary one, because the Ravens before this deal were looking at a defensive line that consisted of Travis Jones, solid, balanced, good against the run and as a pass rusher, but not an alpha. John Jenkins, who is a pure run stopper without meaningful pass rush impact. Aeneas Peebles, who has shown flashes, but hasn't broken through yet. And Broderick Washington, who is still working back from an Achilles injury that cost him 14 games in 2025 per Yardbarker's reporting, plus a 7th round rookie in Rayshawn Benny from Michigan State. That is the room without Campbell. That is what Jesse Minter was going to be working with if Madubuike isn't healthy by week 1. Now add a 6-time Pro Bowler with 117 career sacks, 12th best run defense grade in the league last season, and deep familiarity with the organization, the building, the culture. The calculation is obvious. Now here's the layer that I personally find the most fascinating, and it has everything to do with the relationship between Jesse Minter and Calais Campbell. Think about this. Minter was the Ravens defensive backs coach during Campbell's first year in Baltimore 2020. These two already know each other. They've worked together inside that building. Per reporting from Yardbarker, there is established familiarity between the two men going back to that first season. So this isn't a situation where a new head coach is inheriting a veteran he never coached before and has to figure out how to use. Minter knows exactly what Campbell brings. He's seen him lead a defense. He knows how the man practices, how he commands a room, how he makes the young guys around him better. That history matters enormously when you're a first-year head coach trying to establish a culture from scratch. You don't want 40 strangers in that locker room. You want anchors. And Calais Campbell at 40 years old is as much of an anchor as any player in the league. Dre's honest opinion? This signing also has a lot to do with what happened this past free agency period with Trey Hendrickson. As reported by Larry Brown Sports and Yardbarker, the Ravens did sign former Bengals pass rusher Trey Hendrickson earlier this offseason on a massive deal. 4 years, $112 million. So Baltimore addressed one edge. But they also tried and failed to trade for Max Crosby during the offseason, per the Baltimore Ravens' own team site. That deal fell apart, leaving a gap in the defensive front that they needed to patch. Campbell, at $5.5 million on a 1-year deal, fills that gap at a fraction of what other options would have cost. Eric DeCosta, the Ravens general manager, has been trying to make this reunion happen for 2 years. The team reportedly tried to trade for Campbell from the Miami Dolphins before the 2024 deadline, but Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel blocked the move. This time, nothing stood in the way. Let me be clear about something though, because Dre doesn't do sugarcoating. Calais Campbell is not coming to Baltimore to be a 20-snap-per-game starter who carries the entire defensive line on his back. Those days, as magnificent as they were, are behind him. What he is coming to do is provide insurance, mentorship, and genuine production in a rotational role. He is the veteran presence that makes every young defensive lineman on that roster better just by being in the building. Think about Aeneas Peebles, a player who has been talked about as a potential breakout pass rusher, but hasn't gotten consistent opportunity yet under the previous regime. Now he's got Calais Campbell in the room every single day showing him how to win with leverage, with technique, with film study, with professionalism. Think about 7th round rookie Rayshawn Benny from Michigan State, who has connection with Jesse Minter's coaching tree per fan analysis, now getting to develop alongside a future Hall of Famer. The intangible value here is enormous. And look, I have to address the elephant in the room, because the question everybody is going to ask is he done? Is 40 the cliff? Here's what the data says. Campbell has not posted fewer than 5 sacks in any of his past 4 seasons across 3 different franchises: the Ravens, the Falcons, and the Cardinals, according to the Ravens' own team site's reporting and Pro Football Reference. He has been remarkably durable. He has been remarkably consistent. At 6'8", 315 pounds, with those impossibly long arms, he doesn't rely on explosive first-step speed the way younger pass rushers do. His game has always been about length, leverage, hand technique, and football IQ. Those things don't age at the same rate as pure athleticism. Jim Marshall played to 40. Bruce Smith played until he was 40. And with his career arsenal, $150 million in career earnings per heavy, the Walter Payton Man of the Year award in 2019, 6 Pro Bowl selections, 4 All-Pro designations, Calais Campbell has earned every single benefit of the doubt you can give. Here's how Dre sees this playing out in 2026, and I want you to lock this in because I think it's going to age beautifully. If Nnamdi Madubuike is healthy and cleared by the start of the season, the Ravens' defensive front is going to be absolutely filthy. You've got Madubuike taking up double teams in the interior alongside Travis Jones, Trey Hendrickson rushing off one edge, Aeneas Peebles developing into a legitimate threat, and Calais Campbell rotating in with fresh legs, causing chaos as a depth piece who still has more sack production in one season than most starters across the league. That front, with Jesse Minter scheming for it and defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver designing the game plans, could be one of the most disruptive units in the entire AFC. If Madubuike is not ready for week 1, which remains a real possibility given the severity of his neck surgery, then Campbell slides into a starting role where his veteran savvy and physical tools keep the defense from falling apart while the young pieces develop. Either way, Baltimore wins. Either way, the signing makes sense. There is no bad outcome from bringing Calais Campbell back home at $5.5 million for 1 year. And personally, I think there's one more thing fueling this reunion that nobody is saying out loud. Calais Campbell has been in this league for 19 years without a Super Bowl ring. He came close during his Jacksonville years. He came to Baltimore the first time chasing a ring, and it didn't happen. He went to Atlanta. He went to Miami. He went back to Arizona. And now, at 40 years old, looking at a Ravens team entering a genuinely new era with talent, with a defensive mastermind running the sideline, with Lamar Jackson still under center, per reporting from ESPN, Ravens GM Eric DeCosta is confident Lamar will remain in Baltimore long term, and with Trey Hendrickson coming in on that big deal, Campbell sees something. He sees a window. He sees a roster that could make a real Super Bowl run. And maybe, just maybe, he's chasing the one thing his career or some is missing. A championship. At 40 years old. Year 19. You cannot write a better story than that. The Ravens didn't just sign a player, they signed a legacy, and if Calais Campbell gets his ring this February, it will be one of the greatest individual NFL stories of this generation. Dre is here for every single second of it. That's going to wrap it up for this edition of Dre Talk Sports. If you are not pressing that like button right now, what is wrong with you? Smash it. Show love. You know the routine. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Calais Campbell has one more dominant season in him? Does Baltimore make a Super Bowl run in 2026? I want every hot take you've got. No filter. Drop it down below. And if you haven't subscribed to Dre Talk Sports yet, tap that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss a single drop. We stay on top of every move, every trade, every signing that matters. I'm Dre. Stay locked in. I'll catch you on the next one.